In good health, Johnson & Johnson, makers of several products that contain talcum powder. They've been hit by another multi-million-dollar verdict.
And the case, like the previous, centers around whether consumers should have been warned about a possible link to ovarian cancer. Dr. McGeorge joins us now to explain the facts behind the verdict. And talcum powder seems so harmless, doesn't it?
It does seem harmless. That's exactly it. And this is interesting, though. The debate about a possible link between ovarian cancer and talc has existed for decades, and there have been many studies on both sides supporting or refuting any kind of an association. Here's the thing, from a medical standpoint, at this point, we simply do not have the answer. However, based in part on two juries' evaluations of the evidence, it makes sense for companies to warn the public of at least a possible association between talc use in women, particularly in the groin, and the development of ovarian cancer, and that was the crux of these cases.
Now, how does talcum powder lead to ovarian cancer? And how serious a concern is it?
Well, that's where the real sciencey, interesting thing comes in. In fact, the first concern was raised decades ago when similarities between talc and asbestos were brought to light. Now, we know asbestos causes a form of lung cancer, and the theory was that talc might behave similarly toward the ovary, even when used only on the outer genital area. Now, when it's done that way, talc can still get to the ovary. The route is not simple, though. It has to actually move up the vagina, through the cervix, into the uterus, and then out the fallopian tubes. But if it does that, the ovaries are right there. And even though there aren't enough conclusive studies, if a woman has concerns, it really probably does make sense to just switch to products that have a cornstarch base and avoid talc altogether. And that's really kind of the main message. If you have a concern, strong family history of ovarian cancer, for example, you might want to just skip the talc, even though there are no conclusive studies proving that it causes ovarian cancer.
And we use it on babies' bottoms all the time.
Well, exactly. And this may have long-term ramifications for Johnson & Johnson. I mean, that definitely remains to be seen.
All right.